Hey everybody, and welcome to Big League Bourbon. Tonight we got Cody Decker. This guy has multiple podcasts. He's featured on 670 The Score. He's been in the big leagues. He's been through the minor leagues. He's seen it all. So we're bringing that all to you and more. Maybe even a little MLB gambling tip advice, as Cody is the expert on that. So Cody, welcome to the show tonight.
Thanks for having me, man. Hey, real quick, since this is like my first time not on terrestrial all week. Fuck! Needed that right out of my system. Feel great now.
Oh yeah, dude. That is what it is all about. So for you guys that don't know, Cody was drafted in 2009 out of UCLA. He's got a famous line letting everybody know after taxes he got a whopping $638 for a signing bonus.
$638.43 after taxes. I led the nation in home runs that year, and it didn't fucking matter. Hey, baseball's awesome.
I'm right there with you, man. I had a great campaign leading into getting drafted, and my coach decided to tell the world on draft day morning that I was an asshole and uncoachable.
Oh, cool. That's nice. Isn't it great that people who have no idea what they're doing can easily just affect your life just by one comment? And you know what's amazing about that? It's and this is an inside baseball thing. It's scouting reports last forever. Like, that's the worst part. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to be labeled with something. I made an error in 2009 on a backhand play down the line at third base. First time I played third base that season, and the first time I actually played third base in 2 months. So I was a little rusty. So I get over there and I kind of booted the ball and didn't get the play done. I had a scouting report that followed me forever that I couldn't play third base until 2017 when I played in the WBC, and I literally made like 9 diving plays and saved a no-hitter twice. And I came inside like, hey, we got to change that scouting report. The scouting report says you can't play third. I'm like, when was that written? He's like, oh, 2009. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking 30. Are you shitting me?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize those small comments go a long way in the baseball world. You know, those old books don't go away. They might these days with those huge digital printouts and stuff. I remember the scouting reports we used to get used to be 1 to 2 pages. And I saw one recently with one of my former teammates who's making a comeback. And like they gave him a novel. It was like 45 pages printed out. Because he asked him to print it out instead of be on an iPad because he wanted to highlight it and make notes, and they laughed at him, so they printed it out. It was like 45 freaking pages.
I mean, I'm actually a big believer. I love everything data in baseball. I really do. What I hate about the data is dipshits who have no idea what to do with the data. And the data is exceedingly simple to break down, and it's extremely easy to tell people about, especially if you know anything about baseball. But I don't like I'm as old school as it gets as well. I was trained by Reggie Smith growing up, who is as old school as it gets. But if you are
getting instructors out there.
Yeah, right. But if you're going to sit here and pretend that the data, all these new guys with their data, you sound like an old idiot if you say that. That data is pretty fucking important.
It is. It is, man. It goes a long way. And like, trust me, as a pitcher, I would like those new scouting reports. I saw them. They're pretty in depth, man. There's heat charts. There's everything that tell me what a guy's been doing, what he's been doing over the last 10 days. Like, that stuff's great. Most of the time I was making my own charts by, charting back behind the couple days before going out to pitch, or sitting in the dugout, taking stuff when I was closing games, working my way up through. So those were most of my notes in the minor leagues. You really don't get much unless it's a big time player that the team had notes on back then.
Yeah. I remember when I was in AA in San Antonio in 2011. And I remember our hitting coach, Tom Tornicaso, might be the best hitting coach I ever had in my entire career. This guy had a wonderful old-fashioned notebook where he had data on every pitcher that faced us, but it was all data he used with his eyeballs. And he gave me great information. But let's just say that 2011 with the Padres in AA to, say, 2019 with the Diamondbacks in AAA, I had every ounce of information I could ever dream of. Granted, it did take some convincing of them to allow me to do it, because they did have a policy that said they would not allow any players to see their advanced data, and they wouldn't tell me why. They kept telling me, no, we don't do it because we don't want players to misinterpret the data. And I looked at them like, nah, that's not why. That's not why. Can I see the data, please? I know I'm pitch hitting this year. I know I'm only going to get a few starts, and I want to see something. I'm like, yeah, but we can't allow that. And it was Mike Bell, who was our head of player development, who I loved. And I finally just put my hand in my face, and I was just like, Mike, I'm 32 at the time. I'm 34 now. I'm 32. Yeah. Am I ever going to fucking hit arbitration? And he looked at me. He's like, what? I'm like, that's why you don't want me to see the data, because you use it in arbitration. Am I ever going to hit arbitration? If I go to the big leagues this season, I won't hit arbitration until I'm 36. Am I ever going to hit arbitration? And he just looked at me. He's like, you can see the data. So thank you. Fuck.
Exactly. And 100%, we talk about it all the time. They can portray it any way they want. This is a business, and you are an asset. And
at the end of the day, yeah, we are. I know this is a dark way of looking at it, but it is. You've lived it. I lived it. We are baseball players, whether you like it or not. I know everyone sees the high contracts, but you don't seem to get that that's a percentage of a percentage of a percentage of a percentage of a percentage. There have been 20,000 players who have ever spent 1 second on a major league field to play a baseball game. And when I say 1 second, I mean a pinch hit or one pitch. That's how many people have ever played in Major League Baseball. That doesn't even fill up 1/3 of Dodger Stadium, just to put it in full context and how many big leaguers there are. So how many of them do you honestly think signed $1 million deals? Because the answer is very, very, very small. And at the end of the day, baseball players, we're all spokes on a wheel. The wheel will continue to turn, and we know that. That's why I hate it when people are like, hey, man, these greedy players, my ass. There are billions out there, and the players only have the shortest of windows ever to possibly make any money.
Right. And when you look at the percentage of the actual players out there that actually do make those big contracts, it's once again very small.
Very, very. And it's not 1%. It's more like 0.01%.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insanity when you really break down the numbers. And that's just it. We talk about it. Baseball, numbers game. It's a numbers game when it comes to how much you can make, how long your career lasts. There's so many variables in it. It's insane.
I mean, I'm living proof of that, because I did play for 11 years, but towards the end of my career, I was a starter my whole career. I went to the big leagues. I got to start a game. I didn't get to start. I was being used as a pinch hitter. And at that point, I had never pinch hit. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just kind of going out there. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just going to treat it like I'm starting. And I'm late to everything because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And no one was really there to help me. It was, and I learned how to pinch hit after that. But it was after that I started getting used as a pinch hitter. And I'm like, man, at 2018, I was like, I would love to be this ball player now in 2015 because I know how to do this now. Back in 2015, it was, Deck, when was the last time you had an at bat? 2 weeks ago. Great. Madison Bumgarner's got a no-hitter in the 8th. Good luck.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll go do that, I guess. Oh, you haven't faced anyone? Well, Aroldis Chapman's on the mound. Good luck. I'm like, okay, I'll go do that.
And let me just warm up at 103.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I haven't moved in 2 weeks. Okay, 103. Shit, that's fast. And it's just one of those things. But in 2018, I knew how to pinch hit. I learned how to pinch hit, but it took reps, and I never got those reps.
Yeah. And that makes it hard. It's not like batting practice is game speed, which, it's a huge difference. You're seeing like a 40 or 50 mile an hour pitch, maybe sometimes 60 if you got guys out there amping it up a little bit. Plus they're throwing from a shorter distance. So 103, huge difference.
Huge difference. Not to mention that we actually have new data now that shows that taking batting practice before a game actually slows down a batter's swing by a small percentage. It's like hilarious that we've been doing things wrong for 120 years.
Yeah. Well, just like using some of the weighted bats on the on deck circle, Yeah. So much of it has changed. There's so many things that have changed with the games that have been done, like you said, wrong forever. And I remember when I was playing, you walked in, and if you were trying to do something against the norm and what was done forever because it worked for you and it made sense. Like it literally made sense to do what you're doing. Exactly. You were a problem. You weren't supposed to do it that way. It was bad. You were bad. You needed to go.
Yeah. And there was a time where I even had that same mindset. Oh, this guy's not a team player. Dude, Yeah, maybe in college. Maybe in college you can do that. But when you get to professional baseball, you're professional baseball players.
Right.
It is a job. And
Mhm.
I had the luxury of playing on amazing teams with amazing teammates who really supported each other and wanted everyone's success to happen. But I also
Right.
played on the other teams where they all hated each other and no one wanted anyone to succeed. And that's a truly miserable experience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember the first time that it was ever sitting in the bullpen and somebody brought it up. One of our guys was out there. He was tearing it up. He was a free agent signing. And one of the guys said something like, good for him, man. This is great to see him do it. And one of the other guys just shot him the dirtiest look and said, fuck him. He's trying to take my innings and my job. I don't care if we fucking win a game all year unless I'm playing. So fuck him. And I was like, I'm sitting there and I looked at him and I wanted to say something. And then it was that light bulb where you're like, fuck, how many of these other guys that I played with think that way and don't give two shits about winning?
A lot. Unfortunately, way too many. Way too many. And I think that's not necessarily them. I even think I've even fallen into that trap once or twice. I think we all did.
We all have.
It's like we were all.
We all do it.
Yeah, we've all been at least a little selfish playing baseball games. I know. I definitely know. I was labeled a good teammate and I had a good reputation, but I have no question. I have no question in my mind that I definitely rubbed someone the wrong way here and there because I was either pissed off of my organization, pissed off of my personal shit, and it leaked into the clubhouse because it's easy for it to leak into the clubhouse. Right. And I look back at teammates that I didn't give enough leeway to that I'm like, you know what? Fuck that guy. That guy was a piece of shit. But you know what? Maybe I didn't know what that guy was going through that day. Maybe that guy had some shit going on. Maybe that guy talked to a front office guy that told him something that he really didn't want to hear. And I think that's something that I feel like I failed on, that I didn't recognize that for certain guys. And I learned from it, and I feel like learned from it for the better, but it's a lot. It's not a pleasant career choice, to say the least. No. I love everything I did. Yeah, I loved everything I did, and I'm beyond lucky that I got to accomplish what I did. I'm sad I didn't get to do more, but dude, I'm lucky as shit. But it doesn't mean it doesn't have its problems, and it doesn't mean that shit doesn't need to be fixed like now.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%, man. I look back in my career, I wouldn't change a thing. I had a blast. I learned a lot. I got to see a lot. I got to experience a lot. Could I have done it better? Yeah. Could I have taken care of myself a little better? Yeah. There's a lot of things in hindsight, but honestly, I wouldn't go back and change any of them. I had a blast. I got to live a dream, man, and that's just it. We got to live a dream. And when, you got to the pinnacle. You got to the big leagues. I didn't get there. I have people that'll ask me all the time. So, you didn't make it. I didn't. But you know what? I got to do more than most people ever get to dream of. I got to play in big league spring training. I got to do all those things. I've pitched against several former big leaguers. I have all those memories. You can't take that from me. That's mine forever. And I cherish and love it. I don't have any regrets. I didn't make it. So what? I'm living the dream now. Shit. We kicked off the start of our distillery. So, we sold a lot of booze this week. It was a good week. So
let's go.
It's fucking awesome.
One of these days, don't be afraid to add to my whiskey collection, dude, because my whiskey collection is vast.
Yeah. Hey, it'll be coming. We'll talk a little more about that. But I will get you hooked up for sure, man.
My man. What are you drinking right now, by the way? I saw you taking a little sip of a Glencairn.
Yeah, I got the little Glen going. I started off simple. I started with some Cooper's Craft 100.
Nice.
That got dropped off. We don't get this in the Illinois area. They don't like to share it with us in Illinois. So Tommy D, who is from Colorado, was coming through town. He was from the same area as me, so he dropped it off to me and hooked me up a little hand delivery at my office, which was awesome. So sampling a little of that this week.
Nice.
And
Nice.
Lord Long over here in the chat, which is Shane Long, who is one of my partners, one of the co-founders of Storytime Distillery with me. He said sexual chocolate. That's actually one of the picks we just made. We called it sexual chocolate. It is very chocolate laden. Kind of keeps on growing in your mouth as it sits in the palate. Kind of reminds you, as one person put it, who did a blind tasting for us, called it astronaut style chocolate, like the old astronaut ice cream.
Huh. I got to try this.
Keeps on developing the chocolate in the jowl. So that was a great description. We had a lot of great descriptions for it, as guys who do this stuff all the time. But to hear somebody else pull that one out, it made a lot of sense, and I really enjoyed it. So
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm currently in El Paso, Texas right now, so I don't have my whiskey collection with me. I would love to like go right here and open my Jack Daniel's barrel that I fashioned into an amazing whiskey collection.
Yes, sir.
I got a very good bottles, but while I'm in El Paso right now, this is a tequila town, so not a whole lot of whiskey going on, but I am never without my personal favorite whiskey, which is, of course, I'm a big Irish single malt guy. I love me some American bourbon.
I saw you post that bottle this week. Hell yeah, dude.
I'm a huge Napoleon Castle.
Let me zoom in on that so everybody can see that. Boom.
And I'm a big believer in the 12 because the 12 is, it's arguably their cheapest bottle, and I'll buy the 12 over just about any other high-end bottle. It's just, it's like liquid gold to me. And of course, everyone loves the red breasts and the Teelings of the world. I love both of those as well.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I think I got spoiled early. My first time tasting Napo Castle, I was 21 years old. I went to my high school drama teacher's house. And we were sitting there, and he's just like, Cody, you're 21 now? Are you a drinker? And I said, yeah, a little bit. He's like, what do you like to drink? I said, I'm a whiskey guy. And he said, sit down. And he goes in the other room, and he pulls out this bottle that was covered in dust because he hadn't drinking at this point in 15 years. And he poured me in a Glencairn glass a little bit of Napo Castle, and he just said, that is a 57-year-old bottle of Napo Castle. I want you to do me a favor and sip it beyond slowly and let it sit in your mouth. So I did, and it was so thick, it was almost like molasses, dude.
Oh.
And it was the tastiest thing I ever had to this day in my life.
That's awesome.
It was unreal. And I've been hooked ever since.
Hey, that works. So Mike Stahl, he is our resident Will Clark fanboy. Yeah, so as a former San Diego player, is Will Clark's the best first baseman ever?
No, he's not. No, Albert Pujols is. I'm sorry, he just is. I know. You might not like to hear that, and I love Will Clark. Trust me, Will the Thrill is no slouch. That guy is unreal. And I was a Dodger fan growing up in LA, and even I loved Will Clark. But you can't sit here and pretend that Albert Pujols isn't the greatest first baseman who ever lived. 3,000 hits, 500 home runs. There's 8 players in the history of Major League Baseball that did that. And right now, I believe only one of them is a first baseman. That's Albert Pujols. And the next one is about to be Miguel Cabrera, who I'd also put above Will Clark.
Yeah, he got his 500 this week, right?
He did, and he's only 40, and he's only like 40 away from 3,000.
Yeah, that's going to happen. He says he's going to go for another 2 years. So you never know. You never know. He might catch that rejuvenation. So Shane Long asked, "What about Blue Spot? Have you ever had Blue Spot since you're into the Irish?"
I haven't had Blue Spot, but I've had every single one of the other spots. Red spot, yellow spot, green spot. I've had each one of them and love each one of them. I find myself I'm more of a red spot guy. Turns out I didn't expect that, but I was. I did see. It said Rare Breast 27, but he meant Red Breast 27, the newest one that has come. Oh my God. It is the
tasty.
I feel like it's a cheat to say how great it is because it's a 27-year-old, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's great. But the flavor profile of that whiskey is just, it's like normally when you have such a rich flavor profile, to me, it's too complex and it feels like I'm getting slapped in too many directions. That one is like, it slowly eases you into each transitional taste. Like you're going on a very lovely tour in a monorail. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, that is fantastic. I do love that pour. One of these days, I have to buy a bottle of that. My dad's a big Redbreast fan, so thinking that might be a Christmas thing for him because
Be a
I'll get
good
some
one.
for a lot of it too again. So that'll be all
That
right.
is true, but man, it is an expensive bottle, so you must really love your father.
It is. I do.
I don't even like my father enough to give him Jameson.
Oh, there are days I don't know if I'd give my dad Jameson, but there are days that I have to reflect and look back and go, well, without all the shit he did for me, I would never got to play baseball. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you, and I probably wouldn't be on this whiskey endeavor in my life. So
that is good. See,
I
love my dad to death, but it was all my mom. It was all Terry Decker, man. She's the one that really made it all happen for me.
Right on. That is awesome. So UCLA, man. Tell me about some Pac-10 baseball. A lot of guys don't know how good Pac-10 baseball is. All we hear about is SEC, some ACC.
Which is funny to me.
Conference, so people don't even know how good of the baseball comes out of there. But
which is funny to me because it is the best baseball conference in the country. It's not even close, by the way. SEC and ACC, you can go on all your football jabs all you want. Pac-12 baseball, but back then Pac-10 baseball is without question the power conference in the country. And honestly, above ACC and SEC, I'd put Big West above that as well. You got Fullerton, you got Irvine. Yeah, you got Irvine, you got Long Beach State. I mean, that is a powerhouse division as well. Not to mention Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo. These are all teams that are deep into the supers every year. UCLA, man, I had a blast, dude. I'm lucky. I'm from Santa Monica, and UCLA is practically in Santa Monica, so it was like I got to go to college.
So you were there with Mike Savage, correct?
Yes, I was. I was actually recruited initially by Gary Adams, so I was going to go there and play for Gary Adams, and then Gary Adams retired, and they brought in John, and the first person John called was me and told me he didn't need me, and so I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm no longer going to UCLA. And so I was getting set to go to USC, and I was this close to going to USC, and then UCLA just kind of came back in, and USC made an offer to me of like 60%, which is great. The problem is USC at the time was $42,000 a year because it's a private school. Yes. UCLA is a public school, and I was in state, and that's $7,000 a year. Then USC called me and said, hey, we just got this catcher. We had to give him a little bit of your money. Would you be willing to take 35%? And then we will later make it up to you. And I just looked at him like, I don't trust you anymore. I don't think you're going to do that. And then UCLA called and said, hey, I heard you're not going to USC anymore. And I said, I might. I'm waiting to hear. He's like, Cody, I'm out of money, but I can give you 1 quarter and books. And then after that, I promise you'll never pay for school again. And I just basically looked at the numbers, and I looked at my parents. I'm like, so we got to pay $4,000 to go to UCLA for a year, and then after that we're good? Or I can go and pay $40,000 a year at USC this year and then hope that we're good? I'm like, at the end of the day, if UCLA breaks their promise, it's $7,000 a year to go to UCLA. It's $45,000. Yeah. It became like $50,000 a year to go to USC. Right. And I didn't trust USC at all at that point. And to John Savage's credit, he lived up to every promise he ever made me. Never backed out of anything. Awesome. And as much as back then he was a pain in the ass because he's a college coach, and everybody who loves their college head coach when they play for him. Now, exactly. Despised him when I played for him. But now, John Savage, and I love John Savage. He's the greatest guy ever. And even back then, even when you're playing for a guy that you didn't like at the time because you're a kid getting yelled at by your head coach all the time.
Right.
I had the utmost respect for him because John Savage made me a promise and lived up to every syllable of what he said. And you don't get that in college baseball ever.
No, especially now.
Yo, God, it's so dirty.
You know that. You work with kids these days. I worked with kids. I ran a travel organization for 10 years.
Well, I'm the associate executive director of a baseball and softball nonprofit here in El Paso, and our whole goal is to get kids into college through baseball and softball. And I work with a lot of guys, and I do a lot of work with Bima Elite Athletics, who join me in this as well. I work with Joe.
Joe, I played with Joe.
Yeah, Joe's out here in El Paso with me right now.
Yeah.
In fact, when when I put together an exhibition game with all our players that are in our programs, and Joe, me, and Brent Dean, and we went over and we had Eric Sim join us and Paige Halstead. We had a bunch of guys come out and we had a blast. We played against Team Israel, the Olympic team, over at the Diamondbacks complex. And after the game ended, Joe pitched a little bit, and he's touching 95, and he's getting the juice is flowing, and he gets an offer from the Padres, and I had to bat, and I got an offer from another team that I'm not going to say. And I was looking at it, and Joe and I are like, should we do it? I'm like, you should. I ain't. I'm done, dude. I already spent all my time in 3A. I don't need any more AAA records. Right. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, Joe, you're going to go back to the show. I'm going to get stuck in the PCL again. I'm good.
Right. Yeah, me and Joe got drafted the same year and played our first 2.5, 3 years together. So,
he's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
he just got called up to El Paso too, which is where we're at, which is where our facility's at. So he's going to be playing for the El Paso Chihuahuas. I think he's making his debut tomorrow night.
Fantastic. That'll be awesome. Yeah, I've been following the whole comeback on Instagram. Once he was really ramping up and going for it, and he was like, "I'm going to try this." So that was awesome. It's been awesome to watch, man. That guy was a trip to play with. Good time, great teammate, good dude all the way around.
There aren't enough words in the English language to tell you how much I love Joe Bible.
Yeah, you'll have to tell him I said hello, man.
I will. Consider it done.
Right on. So Shane Long asked, Wade, I see that license plate. Have you ever done an upper decker?
Trying to think. There had to be a college night where I just had way too many. None that come to mind. You would think at some point I did, based on the last name and, of course, the license plate. But no. I was always, believe it or not, I used to love to party a lot in college, like everybody did. But I was really kind of a good boy. I didn't really do it. I always threw the parties, and I didn't feel comfortable not being in control, at least a little bit of the parties. So I didn't want anybody coming in and stealing all my shit.
Yeah, I made a lot of money off those parties.
See, I should have made a lot of money off those parties. I just put together the parties, and now I look back going, I was a fucking idiot. I could have made a killing. I could have funded my whole career.
Yeah, you could have. That's how I made money in college, charging people to get in and whatnot. And I went to school in Indiana, University of Evansville. Mm-hmm. One of my roommates, who was our team manager, had a night job working at a liquor store. I tell everybody about this one, but we had a beer company that was associated with Killian's, and they decided they were going to do something that was down south to try to get more drinkers. So they made a beer. They took Killian's and they rebranded it by putting a blue jean back pocket on the beer and called it Redneck.
I'm assuming that was purchased by everyone possible.
No.
What?
It didn't go anywhere on the shelves.
How's that possible? That's like a layup. You see a jean pocket, it says Redneck. You would buy it just for the novelty.
Right. And nobody bought it. They didn't move it at the liquor store at all. So listen to this, no liquor sales on Sunday in Indiana, right? So, and they closed down like at 11 o'clock at night on Saturday night. Prime party time, plus football the next day. You're off school. You want to have fun. My roommate comes home and goes, hey, if you guys want to get some cases of beer, we can go get the bar cases, the big heavy cases and stuff. $5 a case. I'm like, call your boss back. Tell him I'll take them all. He looked at me like I was crazy. Well, we got close to 100 cases of beer. And, late Saturday night, Sunday, when nobody can get beer on a campus, it's $30 a case.
Well played, sir.
Made some money off the Redneck.
By the way, I did see somebody ask another question, asking me about my traveling trivia show. I haven't done it in a while, but I ran it every offseason. I had a show in Los Angeles called Anti-Hero Trivia. I did it at multiple places all over the place. It is a unique and interactive trivia experience that literally doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. It is what funded my baseball career. LA Times once wrote it up as the best trivia night in Los Angeles. No big deal.
Nice.
But awesome. I haven't done it in a while. I have thought about doing it out here in El Paso for fun. But no.
So then we have another fun comment after the upper decker. We have the have you ever been to the Eiffel Tower?
No, I have not. And honestly, in any realm that question is trying to hint at. I've never been to Paris and or otherwise.
Yeah. He's definitely alluding to things.
I know what he's alluding to.
We go a little off the rail here.
No, it's fine. I'm just sorry. I'm just sorry to tell you that unfortunately my sexual history is about as boring as it gets.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Wasn't all that attractive when I played, dude. No one cared,
man. No. Half the time, dude, you're playing, you're getting drunk, and you're passing out.
Yeah. Plus, in college, like you would think that I was in college. Oh man, I was maybe better looking in college. I was, but Brandon Crawford was on my team. No one was looking at me.
Yeah, he had the flow, man.
He did. He was gorgeous, blue eyes, best shortstop in the country. I wanted to sleep with him.
Hell yeah. So that brings up a question I normally ask. Who is the best player you ever played with at any point in your career across the board?
With or against?
Doesn't have to be somebody who made it all the way. It could be anybody. Who you got?
With I will say Andrew Benintendi. He was in double. I got released by the Colorado Rockies in 2016. I signed with the Red Sox, and when I kind of had to really wear it, and at this point I'd only been either in AAA or the big leagues for like the past 7 years, and I had to go to AA, and I took it and I went there and I had a blast with this team, the Sea Dogs. Unbelievable. Loved the Eastern League. Wanted to sign back and wanted to ask them to send me back. Yeah, Portland. Wanted to have them send me back there. That's how much I loved it. Andrew Benintendi was on that team and he was having a terrible time. And I was kind of asked by the organization to kind of like, hey, can you work with this guy a little bit and see what he got? And then he went off when I arrived and then he got called up. So you're welcome, Red Sox fans, for that World Series.
Hell yeah.
They should have given me a ring. I didn't get it, which I still think is horseshit.
Yeah, turning that guy around, he
was unbelievable. Well, he was hitting like 170, and I was seeing his swings mid-game. I was like, this guy is like so good. Like, why is he hitting 170? And then all of a sudden, by the way, this was like July. And then 3 weeks later, he went on such a tear that he was hitting 310. You go from all season hitting 170, and all of a sudden you're hitting 310 in July. Yeah. You had a real good July.
Hell yeah.
Those best player I played against, though? Trout, no question. Trout and Carlos Correa are the two guys that I played against where I was just like, well, they're playing a different sport than me. That's unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, both those guys are pretty damn phenomenal. Somebody asked if you ever hit one off the buildings back behind in El Paso there.
I have. I put one on top of that building a few times. I hit the building a bunch. Yeah, I hit like 50 home runs while I was playing for the Chihuahuas, man. I love this city. This is, if you've never had the chance to go to El Paso, you are missing out on arguably one of the coolest cities in this country. Amazing food. The people are just awesome. It's like you ever been to Hawaii?
Yeah.
You know how people in Hawaii are, everybody's chill, everybody's pretty cool. Yeah. It's like that here, only, it's desert, and man, it's just, this place is awesome. You got to check it out. I missed that one. What is that?
Aiden just asked, he's from Minnesota, yes. How come when I Google Cody Decker, all I get is pictures of his wife?
Because my wife is smoke and awesome and the most talented human being I've ever met in my life. That's why.
Yeah, your podcast that you used to have with her was pretty badass too, man.
Oh man, I loved that show.
I was a subscriber. I loved it. I loved when you guys would get heated going back and forth talking sports. It was fantastic.
Oh, I miss that show so much. And unfortunately, it was a casualty of COVID. Not only that, the entire network actually was a casualty of COVID. It was radio.com sports at the time, and now it's called Odyssey Sports, Odyssey Networks. Right. And I still work for Odyssey, and as did Jen, but they determined our show because we also had a third member of the show, Eddie Pence, who's just unbelievable. And we had a producer and we had a board op. It unfortunately came to an end, and I hope we can bring it back, that show, at some point in some fashion, whether it'll be exactly the same or something else. But yeah, swings and misses, man. That was a very special show.
Dude, it was very enjoyable. There's still episodes out there, and if you guys haven't heard any of them, go check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. the back and forth. It's great sports talk. It gets a little heated from both sides. It's going to blow you away. It's quality.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. But you know what I'll do? I will tonight. I'll retweet my favorite segment of that show, and it's in 4 parts. And we call it the Tone Luck Saga. It is, to me, it was my favorite thing to this day I've ever done in radio. And I'm honestly, it's all because I'm stupid. It all breaks down to that I have no knowledge of the hip hop community, and I thought that Tone Loc's name was actually Tone Luck, which honestly, in my opinion, would be a better name. But it was a great segment. You guys got to check it out because the payoff is amazing.
Fantastic, dude. I'm digging it. So a lot of these guys don't know what you're doing today. You want to tell them what you're doing? Like Cody's out there. He's got the baseball facility going on, and he's going to fill you in on all the other amazing things he's doing right now.
Thanks, man. I'll start with the baseball facility. Of course, I am the Associate Executive Director of the El Paso Border Youth Athletic Association. We are a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to getting as many kids into college through baseball and softball. You can check out our websites. We have our our association with Beimel Elite Athletics, Joe Beimel, everything he's doing right now. And, I'm really proud of it. We're getting a lot of kids into college, and, there's just a thing about it that I think you would really appreciate as well as me. And it's being realistic with kids. Right. When you're in any city here in El Paso, everyone wants to go to UT. And, right. I have to spend a lot of time explaining to parents, listen, he's not going to play at UT. He's a junior in college. If he wasn't signed as a freshman, he ain't going to UT. Let's look at some realistic options, because everyone wants to look at the D1 route, and it doesn't matter. D1, D2, D3, NAIA, it doesn't matter. If you play after the age of 18, you've accomplished something special, period.
Oh, yeah.
And
100%.
They don't seem to realize that. And it's good to be realistic and make them realize that. Please check out our website, by the way, borderyouth.org. I'm really proud of the work we're doing here, so please check it out. On top of that, I have a show on 670 The Score called Down the Line with Cody Decker, brought to you by Circa Resort and Casino. Please check that out. It's usually before Cubs pregame. I will be live tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Chicago time, so check that out. It's just a quick 30-minute show. And then, of course, I got Big Time Baseball, which is a podcast I do for Odyssey Sports with Tony Gwynn Jr. and John Heyman. We love doing that show. And I also have a new show starting this next week, which is called BetMGM MLB Podcast, powered by BetQL. Yes, that is the title, and it rolls off the tongue perfectly. And that is with Major League Baseball and Odyssey Sports, and I'm doing that with Ryan Horvath, and I'm really excited to do that as well. Over these last few years, I've gotten really into the baseball gambling side, and, that's where baseball is going, and not just baseball, all sports. But, Major League teams are putting in their sports book, the Nationals, the Cubs. They're putting in all their own sports books. This is where the game is going. There's soon going to be iPads behind every single home plate where you're going to be able to make prop bets, live prop bets. That's where baseball is going. And, I'm not going to lie. It adds an extra dimension. And what I try to do on my shows when I talk about gambling is more or less, I'm trying to teach people more about baseball through gambling numbers. So I can make you understand why the White Sox are as good as they are, and why I basically through gambling numbers, through odds, and why those odds have been set, and why I think they can be beaten or not beaten. And I really enjoy it. And I'm putting together one hell of a track record, because I do not miss very often. Hey,
that's what it's all about when you're on the gambling side, man. People want to see that percentage, 80% and above, then they're buying in.
Mm-hmm. And then, I'm teetering right around that number, baby.
Oh, yeah. That's when it really starts happening. Hell yeah. Oh, you're all good, man. Digging it. So what is the best city you ever played in?
El Paso, no question. My favorite place was El Paso. I fell in love with the city. I'm here now. I live both in Los Angeles and El Paso. I absolutely love the city. I love the people, the front office for the Chihuahuas. When you're stuck in AAA for as long, at that point I was, I had already been in AAA for, 3 seasons at that point. And I've been playing in Tucson, which is a city I loved, but we're playing in front of 500 people every night. And you're in AAA baseball playing in front of 500 people. And you can hear the lights better than you can hear the fans. So that was a nightmare. But then you get to El Paso and you're playing in front of 12,000 every night. And they were chanting my name every time I came to the plate. Like, dude, this is the greatest thing I've ever been. Like, this is unbelievable. Like, yeah. It felt like everything, all the shit that I had to shovel at that point all the no money I was making, the years where I was sleeping in my car. I slept in my car most of 2012. It was, and I came here and they embraced everything I did. And even when I made mistakes, they embraced me. It was just the coolest experience. And it made everything I did up to that point feel worth it.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys don't know, Cody was playing affiliated baseball under a major league team umbrella when he was sleeping in the car. That stuff really does happen. A lot of people don't think that stuff happens, but if you don't have like 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 roommates, that's what you do.
You want to know the story how I ended up there, though? This is the worst part. Oh my God. So I started the year in AA, and I was furious that they started me in AA because the year before I did get injured that year, but I did win the playoff. I was named playoff MVP. I was leading all of professional baseball in home runs in April until I broke my ankle. And I came back right before the playoffs, and I came back and I played well, but I was still not 100%. I come back the next year thinking I'm just going to move up with my team, all my teammates that I've been with throughout my entire career. And they tell me, no, you got to go to AA. And I'm like, what? What do you mean I got to go? What else do I got to do at AA? So I go to AA and they tell me they're not starting me. And I was pissed. And then my manager was John Gibbons, who, and good stuff.
An old Knob Creek pick.
Good stuff. Single barrel. Let's go.
Yeah, that's one of the oldies, man. That's like, this one.
Is that even the same
label? That's
label?
From about when your career was going, man, 2009.
Yeah, that's not even the same label anymore, is it?
No, it's not. That's the old 2009 one.
I like it. I like it. I love it when I have an old bottle with an old label. It makes me not want to touch it.
Right.
So then John, Gibby starts playing me in games, and I go off and I do what I do, and then I get moved up to AAA, and I get there and I start playing great, and then they send down Jeremy Hermida, and Jeremy Hermida needs to play. Which is fine. Yeah. And I understand that. But now it's been a month and a half that I'm in AAA, and I only had like 75 at bats, and I'm hitting 200. And I'm like, well, I'm not playing. I let me play, and I'll get out of it. But here's what happened. So I'm in AA. I have my car at the time. It was a 2005 Honda Element. It was a beautiful car, that thing. So I had my Honda Element in San Antonio, Texas, and they tell me they're calling me up to AAA. And I say, okay, I'll just drive to Tucson. He's like, well, you can't drive to Tucson. We have a policy against it. So you have to ship your car. I said, okay, so go ahead. And when are you guys shipping my car? He said, no. You have to ship your car. I said, okay, that's $900, which is more than my paycheck. And I have rent that I'm paying in San Antonio, and I can't get out of my lease. So I have to continue paying my rent in San Antonio that I don't live in anymore. So I have to go and spend $800 to ship my car to Tucson, which took a week and a half to get there. In Tucson, I get 3 nights of hotels. That's it. After that, I have to pay for my hotel, and I have no transportation. So I'm paying for my hotel that I have no money in my bank account with. So I'm falling into negative numbers, and I had to ship my car, and I had to pay rent in a city I was no longer in. And I was paying for my taxi cab. My car arrives. My bank account was at negative $840. And I was just like, I can't do anything. I can't eat. I can't do anything. My car finally arrived at the stadium, and I had to sleep in my car at Keno Stadium in the parking lot until I got another paycheck where I got myself another hotel room for a couple of nights. And then I went back to my car, and I lived in my car for almost the rest of the time I was in Tucson. And then they sent me back to San Antonio, and they said, you got to go back to San Antonio where this guy got sent down. He has to play. And I'm like, well, shit, man. He's like, so why don't you ship your car back? I'm like, I got in my car and I drove to San Antonio. And I said, go ahead and fire me for this. I don't care.
Right.
Like, I have no money and you guys are killing me. And that was the honest to God truth. And it was awful, dude. It was awful. But that was just, that was the business. That's the business model of minor league baseball.
It is. It's like when I played in Augusta, not cheap, especially during with the Masters going on during the baseball season, everything else going on. Not the cheapest place to live. We had 7 guys living in a place. The only way that worked out well for us, we subleased our place out during the Masters to end up covering our rent for the whole time we were there.
Oh, well done. Really well done right there. Yeah. See, I didn't have that luxury in San Antonio. And hell, hear this. The year before, we had a house in 2011 in San Antonio. And get this, this
Okay.
was a team. You talk about a lot of guys in an apartment. Here's who lived in my house. We had a two-bedroom house that we were living at. That lived there was me. I got to the big leagues. Daniel Robertson played in the big leagues. Miles Michaelis played in the big leagues. Jed Jerko played in the big leagues. Josh Spence played in the big leagues. And 2 other guys. So we had 7 guys, 5 of which played in the big leagues, 4 of which for the Padres, all of us sleeping on the couch, floor, and sharing beds.
Yep. Glamorous, isn't it?
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Most glamorous life ever. You come back home in the off season, everybody thinks you're rich, you're loaded, everything's amazing, your lifestyle's amazing, you're hanging out with stars everywhere, sleeping in cars, sharing a 2-bedroom house with 5 other guys,
sharing a bed with Miles Michaelis and Jed Jerko, and we're wondering where it all went wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Going on the road, sleeping in some shitty ass hotels because we don't always get good hotels. Very few.
It's part of the business, but there are aspects of it that I thought had some charm to it, but there was other aspects where I'm like, man, this is really getting old.
Oh, for sure. But I still had a shit ton of fun. I look back at it now and go, but before that, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Now that now I'm older, I'm like, God, some of the shit I did, why?
Of course, I look back at my entire life that way.
Yeah. It just comes with the biz.
It does.
I don't know who YouTube user is. Somebody's playing incognito and has had some great questions.
Oh yeah? And I also saw someone that said they popped on and I kept calling them idiots. We had fun. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know either. YouTube user knew who I was and knew who you were and referring to both of us. So somebody's playing incognito and knows both of us. Maybe it's Joe jumping in. I don't know.
Joe, what are you doing, Joe?
Yeah, somebody's having fun here in the back behind the scenes. I'm not sure who it is. Oh, here we go.
Joe Whelan. I love me some Joe Whelan. Joe Whelan was with me Joe was with me in both those years, 2011, I think, and 12 for the Padres. I love Joe Whelan.
That is awesome. That. Lots of fun stuff coming out in our barreled up group. The stickers.
You're gonna love this.
Everything's rolling, so I printed them today.
So at the time, we were minor league team of the year like 3 years in a row with the Padres. And then we faced Joe Whelan, who was with the Texas Rangers at the time playing in Frisco. Yep. And I was hurt at the time, so I didn't get to face him, but he no-hit us. And it was like the first time we lost all year. We won like 110 games that season. We were unbeatable, and we were beating everybody by 20. It was a fucking joke. But Joe Whelan no-hit us. So how did we respond? We traded for him a week later.
That's perfect business, if you ask me.
It was great.
That is awesome. That is totally awesome. Yeah, Joe's amazing, man. He has pulled off some amazing stuff, and the 4 of us behind the scenes in the barreled up group there have put together some pretty amazing stuff for everybody, and it's fun, man, because they're all going to be kicking out here pretty soon. Like I said, I'm sending all the stickers to them tomorrow. So
nice. I've seen the Glen Karens. I've seen the bottles, man. You guys are doing something special, dude. I'm digging it. I love being part of the group.
Yeah, it's fun on that end, and then on the other end, I started my stuff with Storytime Distillery with my partners, and it's a blast. If you have a free minute, check out StorytimeDistillery.com. Right now, we're starting out as we're a group. And we're working our way to opening our own distillery in 2022 with full setup. And for right now, as we're working our way there, we just released a couple barrel picks, one of which I'll make sure I get to you, by the way.
Let's go.
So we dropped our first barrel picks. We're almost sold out of 2 barrels in today's Thursday. So in about 7 days, we've almost sold out of 2 barrels. So not too shabby. We're going to be releasing some NDP private labeled stuff here, looking like November or either December. And then we are going to be releasing our first NDP blend that we put together, which should be out to people in January/February as we work our way to laying down our own barrels and making everything happen with story time. So this has been a fun journey. The Barreled Up has been a fun journey. It's crazy and exciting.
It's awesome, man. Congratulations on all of it. And I'm going to be following it, and you better believe I'm going to be drinking it.
Hell yeah. I'm down 100%.
And when you guys do actually blow up, just remember that my shows do need sponsors.
Hell yeah, man. I'm down. We can do something like that.
Let's go.
I'm all down for advertising baseball.
Hey man, I got a show on 670 The Score tomorrow. I might just throw it in there all of a sudden.
Dude, that would be amazing if you dropped that in there. And like I said, my part of it, I'm in the Chicago area, so I'll be listening to The Score. If that drops, I'll be going nuts tomorrow.
Listen carefully. Down the line with Cody Decker tomorrow, 670 The Score, 6 p.m. Central Time. You can listen to it anywhere on the Odyssey app. It's free.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So the next thing, we got another typical question that comes out every time. Going through a slump, thanks to the movie, are our favorite baseball movie. Well, some people's favorite baseball movie, Bull Durham. Lingerie. What lingerie are you wearing under the uniform to make it happen?
Believe it or not lingerie. I would strip clothing away. I would remove things. Like anytime something went wrong, I would take something away to make things simpler, easier. You know, maybe okay, tonight, no jock strap and cap. Tonight we're going going to do it. Change up the socks. You know, change up the undershirt. Dude, sometimes I'm with no undershirt because I had chest hair, man. Sometimes you got to let it breathe, man. That's where the power comes from.
Yes. Breathing's everything.
Yeah.
We've all learned that after our careers, how important the breathing actually was.
I probably should have done it more when I played.
Yeah, we all should have. We all got told to hold our breath.
Idiots.
Yeah.
We knew nothing.
Yeah. It's amazing how far it's come. I mean, all the stuff I've done in biomechanics and, movement science and everything else with working with the kids and getting certified and everything else under the sun. It just blows my mind, all the stuff we got trained with and where it's at now. It's fun.
It's been an incredible journey through it. It's not just Rapsodos or Pitch AI, but things that even Hit Tracks is doing, and it's the world of baseball has really just been broken open in such unique ways. Now the problem is everyone has access to data. Now you got to find the people who know what the fuck to do with it. Because there are so many fucking charlatans out there. It's absurd. And the amount of bullshit I see guys trying to sell for hitting is just like, dude, hitting's hard enough. Like, you guys make this shit impossible. Like, stop trying to sell kids gimmick balls to put under your arm and swing shit. Like, grab a bat and get in the cage.
You mean connection balls don't work?
Oh no, they don't do shit. Like, I'm watching kids hit on platforms. I'm like, dude, why would you take away the one thing that is stable in your swing? You're like, are you planning on taking at bats during a Force 5 hurricane, or
did somebody say teacher man?
Oh, that guy's such a dipshit. That guy is such a... You know what's funny? I actually caught that guy once. That guy is the funniest... By the way, some bartender in St. Louis who doesn't know shit and tries to claim everyone hit with him. I have yet to find a single person that is hit with him, including the one... I've even asked point blank to the people he claims are his. Like, do you hit with this guy? And they're like, no. I'm like, I didn't think so. What the fuck? I'm like, but here's the funny thing. He tried to go off on me one time, and then a buddy of mine who's a scout said, here you go. And it's a video of him writing a whole paragraph on how amazing I was. So I showed him hey, this you stupid fuck. And he's just like, well, you changed everything since then. I'm like, you're a fucking charlatan little carny bitch.
Yeah, that guy's special. I mean, I've met some great people along the way. I did the whole circuit, going around from the conferences and stuff, speaking at some of the conferences, doing all that fun stuff. I've met some great people along the way that, it's not gimmick, it's straightforward, But for every one guy doing it right,
Mm-hmm.
there's 500 to 1,000 selling some bullshit online.
Oh, it's so brutal. It's just the amount of money these people are trying to steal from gullible parents. It honestly breaks my heart to see it. It honestly makes me sick and irate because baseball is expensive, man. This is a very expensive. An expensive sport to play. And like my whole goal in what I'm doing in El Paso is trying to make it as affordable as I can and like make it accessible to people. And that's why the nonprofit and we scholarship all these kids. And these guys are out here like, $500 to get certified at Attack Baseball USA. This guy learned from the greatest hitting guru there is. He spent 4 years in high school JV. Listen, I'm not saying you had to have played at the highest levels to know how to coach, but the worst thing I think any hitting coach could ever do is try and tell people that there's only one way to fucking hit.
That's why everybody strikes out.
Like, dude,
nobody knows how to take a bat and a ball and teach you how to hit a ball wherever you want, no matter where it's pitched anymore. Yeah. Because everybody's trying to teach you a swing that's not repeatable in a game.
Yeah, my favorite thing is like, I think I muted Teacher Man like 3 years ago because he's just a clown. But I think one time he was like claiming Judge and showing video of Judge, and I'm just like, he's 6'7". 260. He's a physical specimen. If he looks at the ball, it'll go over the fucking fence.
Dude, you're being nice. You're giving his real MLB height and weight. You're not giving his real height and weight.
What's his real height and weight?
Dude, he's like 6'9", 290.
Is he really that big?
Yeah, he's that big.
Fuck, he's big. He's so
Dude,
big.
It's like when Shaq was playing. One of my former college teammates was a marketing guy. He interned at Orlando. Shaq, they had to list him at 7'1" and 305. And they were scared. Like Pepsi and the other places were scared that they were still listing him at 305 because nobody would buy anything from a 300-pound man. He actually weighed 395.
Jesus, really? 395?
Dude, Roger Clemens was listed his whole career at 215. Give me a break.
No shot. No chance. 260 for several of those years.
Easy. And he was even at the end, they're like, yeah, Roger's put on a little weight and a little muscle this year. He came into camp at 220. Kiss my ass. That's some good marketing.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, the Shaq and Kobe years, Shaq ran up and down the court at 395 to sometimes teetering over the 4 mark. That's why guys couldn't move him, dude. That's why guys couldn't move him. When you see guys that are sticks and really are 215, you're trying to move a 400-pound man around. It's not happening.
I've never been in like Aaron Judge's face. I've never been around him, but looking at him, he's enormous. He's a human. He's like if you were to make an athlete and draw it up, he's probably it. Him and Stanton. I've been around Stanton quite a bit, and dude, he's around. I'm like, dude, we are not the same species. This isn't fair.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
It's not.
And he's also the nicest guy you'll ever meet. You're like, this, what the hell?
Like, come on, he was a center fielder in college. Think about that. He was a center fielder. He was a football player. I mean, center fielder. Yeah.
Not only that, he was going to go to USC, and this was back when USC was the school to play football at. He was going to go there and play football. Like he's a different type of athlete, and that honestly, that's what I like about where baseball is now. Back early on, like in the 90s, and with the exception of the steroid era, but like you look back in the 80s, you look at players and like everyone's got a beer belly, everyone's out of shape, and now it's like only the pinnacle specimens of the world are baseball players. It's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, dude, going back from what the clubhouse used to look like when I was playing to what it looks like now.
Yeah, there are a lot more abs than love handles these days, and our day we got more love handles than we got abs.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I still remember when I was playing, I got told not to use the weight room anymore. And then I kept on doing it, and I got told, no, you can't use the weight room anymore while you're here. If you want to do it in the off season, good for you, but you can't do it anymore. Now you lift before games, and it's the best thing to do. I tried to do that. No, you're banned from the weight room.
It just goes to show you like how much we've learned, and like we've like learned more in the last 5 years than we did the previous 30. And it's amazing. And honestly,
it is.
I feel like we're at a cool age of baseball, like a real cool age. As much as we like want to argue about a lot of things that need to be fixed, and there are, it's a really cool time to be around baseball.
It really is. I want more guys like you out there teaching hitting. Okay. Because I want the game to be challenging again. Right now, well, we talked scouting reports. We talked all the data out there. When you have guys that really understand that stuff, dude, I can look at these reports and I can tell a pitcher that has good command and doesn't have great stuff right now how to beat you all day long. Because if you have a swing and it's the same swing pattern every time, no matter where the pitch is, you can beat that. You got guys like Javi Baez swinging and missing a ball by 2 feet. That ball wasn't even to the plate. It was 2 feet away the other day.
That was tough. That one was a bit tough.
That was hard to watch, man. I mean, I love that guy for the energy and the passion he brings to the game and the flair. But goddamn, some of his swings are so embarrassing.
Not only that, a couple of mishaps on the field as well. Like the other day, running on a off routine fly ball to center, and it sucks because the guy's off the charts talented and has already won one World Series, and he is responsible for some of the coolest things I've seen ever happen on the baseball field. I think back to that 2017 WBC tag where he's pointing at
that was amazing.
The coolest fucking play that's ever happened. His slide that's turned into a GIF into first base is one of the coolest things that's ever happened on a baseball field. The thing where he absolutely decimated the first baseman of the Pirates' mind and led to the greatest base running weird thing that ever happened. Like, he's done some of the coolest shit I've ever seen in baseball.
Yes.
But he's also done some of that.
Some of the worst. The best slide ever in baseball happened a couple weeks ago, though. Trey Turner.
No question. Dude, what is it like to have?
I cannot
slide into home plate.
I've watched that. Yeah, slide into home. I
finally figured out what it was.
I watched that.
You know what it was that I realized was the smoothness part of it. That was just I kept breaking it down the video.
That little turn.
It's his left leg. His left leg is I think it's his left leg is the one that's bent as he's sliding in a picture perfect slide. He straightens it really early, and as he straightens it, he just perfectly lands up and he glides. And I've never thought of straightening my bent knee as I'm sliding ever. It's never crossed because I always, you slide into a base and you hit the base with your foot and you pop up off that. You never slide and then extend your other foot, but Trey Turner does, because Trey Turner is a better human being than all of us.
It was so picturesque.
It was
there was so something cool about that. Like I watched it so many times, and it was just that moment, Yeah,
it was cool.
There was a man crush moment there. Like I could never do that, and I was jealous, and it was pretty hot for a baseball field. I'm just saying.
One bad.
Yeah. So we've gone best city. How about the worst city to play in?
That I played for. The city, I didn't mind the team or the organization or even the stadium, but God, did I hate Binghamton, New York. God, I hated that place. I got
a great story about there.
Really?
Oh my God, yes. I got two great stories. There's two. You tell yours first. You tell me why you don't like it.
I don't. There's no particular story. It's just. Yeah, Rod Serling, the creator and showrunner and writer of 200 episodes of The Twilight Zone, is born and raised there. And if you go there, you totally understand why.
Right. No,
but you can't. I can't say it to you. I can't describe it. It's indescribable. Right. You have to experience it.
Yeah, I was there. I was there for 4 days. Yeah, I get it. And it kind of goes along with my story. So we go there one time. One of the coolest things that happened. I don't know if coolest. It's really odd. Our coach decides to yell out the bus because there was a little person walking across the road. We were on a winning streak. A little person.
No, I heard you. I heard you.
Yeah. Walking across the street and taking forever for the bus. And he decided he was going to be funny and got on the speaker on the bus and started open the door on the bus, had the bus driver open up the door and started yelling, "Follow the yellow brick road."
What?
I don't know why. He just did it. We all laughed. It was weird. You know, you're on a bus. We've been on a bus for a while. I started yelling that. Dude, we got our asses handed to us. We gave up 19 runs in a fucking game.
Pure karma.
It was like more runs than we had given up in the past 3 weeks.
Yikes.
Total. And in one day, it was ridiculous.
Instant karma. You gotta love it.
Yeah. It's one of those things, dude. It's totally baseball. It's totally baseball. You do some weird bad shit. Juju comes to get you in a hurry. Or Juju, whatever you want to call it. You do not piss off the baseball gods.
You know, sometimes I want to pretend that they're not real, but man, I have one story, and this is when I learned. I was a junior in high school. I was playing in a tournament. I go to a vending machine, and I put in I just put in $1, and it gave me 2 bottles of water, and I was excited. And I had the first game of the tournament that weekend. I grabbed 2 bottles, and I went like, must be my lucky day. And I said that out loud. I went back, went into the game. Double, first inning. Diving play, first play of the game. Pop up in the infield, second play of the game, and while we're on defense. I'm going on. I see that my catcher has no idea where it is, so I run behind home plate and I try and dive for it, and just out of my reach. Catcher is still all over the place, trips and lands on me, and I'm perfectly on my side and lands on me to a point that my left shoulder that was on the ground separated, and I heard a pop. And I didn't feel it. I just heard the pop. And I got up to grab the baseball because it landed in fair territory right by home plate. I was playing third. I made this dot, and I grabbed the ball, and I get up to make a throw, and my separated shoulder, the pain happened, and I just melted to the ground in agonizing pain, in the point where I was speaking incoherently. I was in that much pain.
Yes.
And I'll never forget it.
Sniper moment.
Mm-hmm. Never forget it for the rest of my life. I said that morning out loud to myself, must be my lucky day. And I separated my shoulder maybe an hour later. I got exactly what I deserved from the baseball.
Dude, that's so baseball, though.
It is.
It's so baseball. It's so baseball, man. Yeah, the baseball gods making rain turtles, doing crazy dances. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all that shit really happens, people. If you saw the shit we did, you see some of these movies and you're like, these guys are doing weird shit. Yeah.
Dude, I convinced my teammate was deaf. I convinced a teammate that another teammate was deaf for over a month. Yeah, I did a lot of weird shit.
Yeah. Wearing crazy shit under the uniform like you talked about, or just losing clothes under it. I mean, I played with a guy who was still wearing his freshman year high school baseball practice shirt under his jersey after 3 years of college and 4 years of pro ball, and wore it underneath his jersey every freaking game. And if he didn't have it, the guy was having a panic attack trying to find it in the locker or in the laundry room because he couldn't play without it.
That's just insane behavior. Like, it's at the end of the day, we are playing a game of baseball, and it does not matter. It doesn't.
Yeah. That's 100% it, And some of these guys have weirder quirks and everything.
I had mine. I look back. Why did I have any of those? I had the same routine at the plate that I never needed to do. I had the same shit I do out on the field every pitch that I never needed to do. I just made me feel comfortable. That's why I did it. I freely admitted. He's like, "Hey, why do you do that?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's fucking stupid, but it makes me feel good, so that's why I do it."
But it's a routine.
It is.
Okay. But if it's a routine and it's something that gets you set in the right mindset, the right breathing pattern to get you focused on what you do next, it's a routine. And then that's okay. If you're just doing random shit to do random shit, that's where it becomes crazy. And we've seen more than enough of that. I know you have. I know I saw a shit ton of that, you know, guys doing all kinds of crazy shit because somebody told them to do it, or they saw it on a movie, or they saw it on a freaking video, whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of weird shit going on.
You ain't lying.
So if you're going to give us some good bets coming up this weekend, what would you be telling us?
Well, I'd have to go ahead and open up the line, and I haven't broken down the weekend yet. So let's take a look.
By the way, guys, Cody has a couple different shows between the Chicago market and nationally on Odyssey that he covers gambling and baseball. So if you're looking to make a little money, check out this guy right here.
I'm taking a look at the odds on tomorrow's games right now, and you know, there's a lot of odds here that I don't like, and that's because the games are just not evenly matched. Even the Yankees versus the A's, which is a matchup that I find a lot more evenly matched up than the sportsbook is giving it credit for. It's because Garrett Cole's on the mound. So there's not a whole lot of value. It's minus 140 to just take the money line, but Garrett Cole is on the mound. So I'm very inclined. I would say take the under, but the under is set at 7.5 runs. I do not think 7.5 runs under is going to come in, but I'm not confident enough to tell you that the over is going to come in either. But I do think that the Yankees are going to win by more than 2 runs. So if you take a look at that run line, plus 112 for Garrett Cole on the run line, that is about as good of an odds you're going to get on a Garrett Cole start as you can find. And I think that the Yankees will win by more than 2 runs.
That is fantastic. That is good stuff. Bourbon said, didn't Pete Rose get in trouble for that shit? Yeah, because he was sitting on the bench.
Different thing. And I can actually make the argument on why Pete Rose should never be involved in baseball ever again. And I can't stress this enough. It's not the same thing. It's just not even close to the same thing. Pete Rose was gambling on baseball back when he was a manager for the Montreal Expos. Pete Rose, sports gambling at the time is not sports books and legalized gambling that it is now. It was organized crime. So he's out there making a lot of gambling picks with loan sharks, bookies, and he's putting himself and his players' families in highly leverageable and dangerous positions. Back then, keep in mind, Major League Baseball implemented everything about gambling rules-wise in 1919 because players were getting threatened that their wives would be murdered. That is a situation that Pete Rose was unknowingly putting his players in, and they didn't know it. It was dangerous, and it's unforgivable. And if my manager put me and my family in that position, I don't know what I would have done to him.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It's some crazy stuff, you know. When we look back at some of the stuff that used to happen then, it's wacko. It's wacko.
It's nuts.
Yeah, you know, because a lot of people don't look at the bigger picture of what's going on and everything that it entails. They just see the headlines and, you know, the quick takes, you know.
Yes, and that's very easy to do.
Smith quick take, which, you know, nobody's listening to.
And you got to understand, everything with baseball and everything that takes place, there are no quick takes. They're layered. It's layer after layer after layer after layer. So if like you want to have a quick take, like, oh, bring in robot umps right now. I agree to a point because robot umps, the radar system is not a perfect system. Yes, it gives you the strike zone, but you're telling me that a slider that breaks through the front of the zone, that clips the front part of the zone and lands arguably 1.5 feet off the plate, which is an unhittable pitch, is going to be called a strike. Right. That's a problem. That's not a strike. And you know it's not a strike. So there is aspects that do need to be taken care of before they just go full on and implement that in. However, I'd rather that than Angel Hernandez.
Yeah. Angel Hernandez. There's another one.
Yeah. But yeah, so every little detail, even the things that seem like, oh yeah, it's a layup, go do that. There is a lot more to it than that. Like the sticky substance scandal all year and everyone trying to put it on Garrett Cole as if Garrett Cole was the only guy using spider tack. Everyone uses spider tack. They all use it and it's part of the game and it's taught. And Major League Baseball putting in this thing that they knew was going on all along is a pretty weird thing to do. So there are layers. And then you got to start asking the questions, why is Major League Baseball bringing this up right now? Okay.
Right. And if you don't think it's old, I can show you tons of pictures of Salvador Perez for years with that on the side of his shin guards. I can also direct you to the Hall of Fame. And Brandon Morrow's shoes are in the Hall of Fame. for pitching in all 7 games of the 2016 World Series. There is a big gob of Spider Tack goo on the side of his shoe sitting in the Hall of Fame up on the locker shelf.
It's just part of, and I know people look at it who don't play baseball when I say it's part of the game. Well, it shouldn't be. Well, yeah, maybe it shouldn't be, but it's been allowed up to this point. It's like when everyone looks at the steroid scandal back in the 90s and like, oh, they were all doing steroids. They shouldn't be doing that. Honestly, I'd make the argument if you weren't doing steroids in the 90s, you were stupid not to do steroids in the 90s because one, it wasn't regulated, it wasn't illegal on the field, and they were all doing it. So the only way you can compete is to take steroids. Right. After they made it illegal, after it was a clear-cut rule, and you did it after that, you deserve to be banned from the game.
Oh, yeah. I've got a pretty interesting write-up that still floats around online somewhere about that, just talking about how you could set up your family with generational money if you took that risk, and if you compared it to everyday life and somebody telling you, you could take a pill or take a shot and you could set your family up. Would you do it? You know what? 99% of the people out there are probably going to take a pill and say, okay, if it's going to set my family up for life, I'm in.
Yeah. And
they don't look at it the same way. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that's right.
I wrote goes way more in depth and it evolves more. But I mean, that's just a quick synopsis of it, because people don't look at the bigger picture of it. They're like, oh, cheating.
And but listen, I'm not saying
everybody's trying to take every advantage they can. I don't care what your profession is. You're trying to do something to get ahead to improve your take home and your quality of life for your family.
And
that's
again,
that's what they did.
Yeah. And that's what they did back then. But like, I have no sympathy for somebody who gets caught with it now. None. Because those people were breaking the rules that I was adhering to. And that to me is bullshit because those guys are getting the opportunities that we weren't getting and we were doing it right. And that is something that never sat well with me. But back then, it was a different game.
It wasn't against the rules. It wasn't part of the rules. They didn't test for it. It wasn't there. It's just like we have guys in the Hall of Fame, who always dove head first because they had a vial of Coke in their back pocket. There was the era of the greenies where guys were taking greenies all the time before games because it wasn't tested for. And you can't tell me that's not an advantage, being a little more alert and a little more hyped up than everybody else.
Yeah. And it was very much an advantage. And it was absolutely cheating. But is it cheating if they're all doing it and the playing field was even? Not really.
No, because the hitters were doing it. The pitchers were doing it. Everybody was doing it.
The only thing that you could say about it, and this is actually the part I do agree with, is that the record books are fucked up. The record books will forever be kind of fucked up. And Major League Baseball and its fans love its records more than just about any other 5 sports combined. I'll say this. I'll say the fans love the records more than anything. Major League Baseball has kind of taken their own personal shit on that this year when we went to the 7-inning doubleheader. Yeah, but I will say
when Madison Bumgarner throws a no-hitter, but it's not a no-hitter, but it's considered a complete game, it's basically telling you, sit and spin, go fuck yourself.
I will tell you that is
what counts and what don't.
I have a very specific take on that, and that is if a pitcher throws 5 innings, no-hit baseball, and the game is rained out, what is that game called?
That's called a rainout.
No, that's a complete game and a no-hitter. So why is that a no-hitter? And Madison Bumgarner's 7-inning game is not a no-hitter. No one's been able to adequately explain that to me yet.
Yeah. I haven't looked at it at that level, but you're right. If it is 5 complete innings, it's a complete game. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a great call. So here's the next one. Moving the mound back. What the fuck?
The only thing I can come up with is someone told Rob Manfred it was a good idea because they're trying to sabotage him. It's literally the only thing I can come up with. It's
partially Theo Epstein on the backside coming up with these ideas.
And I know, it's crossing my mind. It's kind of crossing my mind that maybe Theo is setting Rob up a little bit. Because
I think so.
There is literally no reason to do it.
Commissioner of baseball, right?
Yeah,
that's where the leverage is and what he's going for. You know that, and I know that. Nobody's saying it.
I don't know it.
Come on. Come on. You don't walk away from what he walked away from and the other offers that came through to go work for Rob Manfred in Major League Baseball
I don't
office.
know it. I may think it.
Okay,
but I think a lot of things.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. He's going down that road though, or that rabbit hole, whatever.
I think Theo Epstein will eventually be the commissioner of Major League Baseball at some point. I truly do think that will happen.
Yeah,
he'd be a good choice. I honestly think he'd be a good choice. I just think that the commissioner's role should be slightly changed, and that is, to me, the commissioner's role should be to safeguard baseball. Period. And I kind of feel like the commissioner's job over the last, especially 25 years, is kind of more of being a union head for the owners and their own association and being their union head. And I don't think that's what it should be. No. I think it should be an autonomous party that, makes the final say, but is not kind of on the side of the owners.
Right.
No, that's all.
I agree with you there. I agree with you.
And listen, I'm not saying that owners are the devil or wrong for doing what they do in their business practices. If you're a businessman and you take full advantage of everything that you can legally do, you're just a businessman. You're doing what you can. And at the end of the day, it is business. So I totally understand everything that the owners try to do. I just want fans to look at it and not be manipulated by it.
Mm-hmm. So here's my other take on that 7-inning doubleheader. We run with it for a year, and then next year we're not going to do it.
I don't like it. It's actually, of all the rules that they implemented, it's the one I like the most. I like the 2 7s. But it also might be because I like 2 7s. I really do. I do. I wasn't sure about it when they first were bringing it in, but as it's gone on, man, I've really dug it. I also don't hate the extra inning rule, but I'm not against them getting rid of it. But I actually kind of like the extra inning rule. I think it adds instant drama and instant strategy. Everyone that says they don't want a National League DH because, strategy and bunting, like you came to the game so you can see a sacrifice fucking bunt. But you have instant strategy. You can move that runner over by hitting him over or by bunting him over. And there are numbers that tell you what you should do. And I think it's actually kind of cool, but I understand why a lot of fans don't like it. So I can go either way on that and not lose any sleep, but I really think the 2 7s should stick. I do think it should only be 1 gate though. And I think a lot of teams have kind of taken advantage of going with 2 gates, which I think is just,
for sure. So here's my only take on that one. The inherited runner in the extra innings. A pitcher gets hung with that run when it starts out at second.
Oh no, it's not on the ERA.
It's not now?
No, it's not on the ERA. It's a completely free run. It lands as an RBI, but it does not end up as an earned run at all.
Okay, because there was talks that it was going to be.
It is not. It is 100% not an earned run.
I'm down with it then. I'm down with it.
I kind of like it. But again, I do understand if people don't. I do get it, but I kind of like it.
Yeah. I totally dig it. I dig it. You're saving arms, you're protecting arms. The one thing it does hurt a little bit. You don't have those super long games, so you don't have those fake injuries for some guys getting called up. So we see a few more guys getting some cups of coffee or some earlier call ups and things like that.
Tell that to the Dodgers and Padres last night.
Yeah. I am all for expanding the roster though. I didn't mind when they did that last year. I thought that was a fine thing to do.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things. I think there's a lot of things that need to be worked out in the next CBA. I feel like the Players Union got absolutely taken on the last CBA. They valued player comforts over way too many other things, and they allowed a mock salary cap to happen with the luxury tax. It was just everything about it. Yeah, it was a bad one, and I really hope they gain back some ground this go around.
Yeah, because that collective bargaining agreement actually, it strapped the teams that have the money to spend, and all it did was make the teams that were not competitive per se. It gave them a reason not to be competitive, because when you look at the amount of money that they get from their TV and from revenue sharing throughout the league, you have teams that are sitting there with $25 million payrolls playing against teams with $300 million payrolls. And those teams with $25 million payrolls, before they even take a ticket at the gate, know that they're taking in $45 to $48 million in revenue sharing from baseball. So they're making a profit.
Yes, they're all making profit, but also we don't know actually and this is where things get really ugly. Unfortunately, is that we don't know how much profit, and we never will until they open up their books, and they're never going to do that. And can you blame them? I don't blame them one bit. They don't want us to know how much they're actually making. It torpedoes their CBA negotiations for the next 100 years. 100%. So I don't blame them for that, and I don't fault them for it either. That being said, do me a favor, please stop claiming you're poor and not proving it, because you're not. It's just, you're just lying. Stop it.
Yeah. Bourbon says, anti-games in home run hitting contests, make it like hockey tiebreakers.
Doesn't work the same way. Sorry, guys. As much as it sounds great on paper, it does not work the same way, because then you have to get into the point where who's throwing the balls, who's pitching these balls, is it their own coaching staff? That's not exactly fair. If you have Pete Alonso on one team, it's clearly not fair, and it's clearly the only way the Mets are going to fucking ever win again. No, I'm sorry, man. It's not the same thing, because the difference is when you have a shootout, there's a competition involved. When you're having a home run derby, it's a competition, but you're not facing off against somebody. It's you're taking turns. Does that make sense? It's not the same thing.
Yeah. Because hockey, you're facing the other team's goalie.
Yeah,
Soccer,
you're facing a goalie. You're competing.
Goalie, so there's a competition. That it doesn't work the same.
That competition already exists in baseball. Is the thing.
Yeah,
that competition exists. It's every at bat. That is what it is.
But you mentioned the Mets. How the hell did the Mets not win with Pete Alonso, Michael Conforto, Francisco Lindor, and Baez? And there's a lot of other good pieces on that team. How do they not win?
Because they're the Mets. I played for them. That's just what happens.
I know that.
As much as there is no, if you're a Met fan, you get it. They're the Mets. This is just what happens. It's what happens. It sucks, because I really wanted them to win this year, and I was really rooting for them. And everybody that's on that team I played with in 2017 in Vegas, and I love the Mets. I actually really love the Mets. The Mets, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the who's the last team? The Red Sox. The teams are 14 organizations that I played for that have a real special place in my heart. And every one of those teams have absolutely imploded in the last month. It's been, and the Diamondbacks way before that, but the rest of them completely imploded the rest of this month. Oh, it's been brutal. It's been brutal.
Hell yeah. Mike Stahl asks, so now that you don't live in San Diego, do you miss I can't say that.
Well, I don't know either of the places, so no. But I will say I do miss San Diego. But I'm always in LA. I'm from LA. I tried to pop down to San Diego as much as what a cool ass city, man. It just is. I lived in the Omni across the street when I was called up, so I was able to just walk, and I loved that Gaslamp district. Just such great restaurants, cool people, very nice. Man, I wish the parts of me like thought it was time for me to leave the Padres when I did, but I never wanted to leave the Padres. I kind of wanted to stay there forever. And, I had fantasies my whole life. Like, I'm like, maybe I'll one day take the Padres to their first World Series. And, as stupid as that is, acting like a kid when you're 24. But, I loved the Padres. The thing I truly am sad about it with the Padres is that I have so much navy blue Padres shit, and I want all the brown shit. I want all the brown stuff, because the brown stuff is the best.
The bean and cheese.
I love it, dude. It's the coolest. They have the coolest everything in baseball. It's awesome. And I loved my uni as well, but it ain't the brown and yellows, man. They're the best. They're the best unis in baseball. I truly think
they are. I love that. I love that colorway. It's so fun.
Same. So cool.
Fun. Greg McDonald, man, I feel for you. You say misery is being a Pirates fan, one of the best ballparks in the league that hosts one of the worst teams in the league.
Slow down.
I played in the Pirates organization.
I'd slow down.
Yeah.
Is it bad right now? Yes, it is bad right now. But this is a team that has stocked up their minor league system a lot over these last few years. And right now in low A and high A, their teams are beating up on everybody. Yeah, they're beating up on everybody
on those levels.
And the average age of those teams is 3 years younger than the rest of the league. I'd give it another 3 years. Your Pirates might be pretty fucking good.
Yeah. I think they'll be enjoyable really again. Good. There's going to be a lot of high-end talent. You're going to see a little bit of flair via San Diego. You're going to see some of them very talented players that can light it up on both sides of the field.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be exciting because if you catch some of those games down in Bradenton and some of their other lower levels, dude, there are some, like Cody said, there are some straight up ballers on those teams.
They're going to be good. They will be. It's going to be, I will caveat, it's going to be pretty shitty for the next couple of years. So just strap in.
Yeah.
Strap in. It's going to be a little tough. You're going to be at the bottom of your division and possibly all of Major League Baseball, but 2024, 25, you're going to start feeling like reminiscent of like 2013 Kansas City Royals type shit, possibly.
Right on. It says, now you see what Brown can do to you. Big Vic. Love it, brother. Love it. Hey, Greg fired back with, I wish you were correct, Corey. Nutting will find a way to screw it up. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. If you look at the history of your Pirates, man, there are like 8 to 10 year lulls, and then all of a sudden the amount of talent that comes through because they've jettisoned everything they had and stocked up, like Corey was talking about, you get waves of talent.
Who's Corey?
I don't know.
No idea.
I don't know.
I honestly don't know anyone named Corey.
I know a guy named Cody I'm talking to.
I know a guy named Cody. I don't know anyone named Corey. That Corey guy clearly doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But,
definitely doesn't.
But I will say Ben Cherington is not a dumb guy, and their head of player development is John Baker, who is maybe my all-time favorite teammate of all time, and one of the brightest guys in all of professional baseball. I'd watch out for the Pirates. I'm not saying get ready to buy a banner for the 2025 pennant. I'm just saying they're probably going to be pretty good in a few years.
Yeah. One of my former college teammates is in that front office too, Jamie Carroll. So he knows a thing or two. He was smart enough to be a middle infielder that had a 20-plus year career. So
I remember Jamie Carroll. Jamie Carroll could fucking play, man.
Yeah, he could, man.
Yeah, he could
play. Him and his brother. His brother actually coaches our alma mater now, Wes Carroll.
Oh, look at that. See, keeping it in the family.
Keeping it in the family, man. Keeping it in the family. It happens, man. So I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions, man. I don't want to keep you all night. We've went an hour and a half. So I'm gonna ask you, what is the craziest thing you've ever seen on a baseball field or in a locker room?
Amazingly, I never saw that much crazy shit in locker rooms. Actually, I take that back. I'm not counting Winter League. I've seen some crazy shit in Winter League. I had a teammate in Venezuela unload an entire round of his gun in the locker room, just into the floor, just because he wanted to. I don't think I had a single good winter ball experience. Winter ball was the worst. I hated winter ball. Except for in Culiacan. Culiacan was awesome. Outside of that, I hated winter ball. Nothing too crazy in the clubhouses. On the field, honestly, and this is going to be very self-serving, so I apologize. The craziest thing I ever got to see on a field was something I got to do, and it was my last at-bat I ever played in. I hit a walk-off home run, my last at-bat, knowing full well I was retiring that night. The organization knew, my family knew, my teammates knew, my manager knew, and I came up in the ninth with a runner on first base, down one, and I completely forgot, and their closer was in. I will never forget it. I had been on the Phantom for like weeks, and that was partially why I was ready to hang him up. And I remember I got the offer from Odyssey, and I had this out here in El Paso, and I was just like, okay, I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to hang him up. It was time. And I was on the Phantom. I was like, fuck, dude, these guys aren't calling me up. Just no matter what I do, they're not going to call me up. So that's it. And so I called the front office of the Diamondbacks, and I told my buddy, who was the guy who signed me and took care of me, and he was trying to talk me out of it. And I just said, dude, seriously, is there any scenario where I get called up? He's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, you do. Like, you're not going to, if you haven't called me up yet, you're not going to do it now. And it's okay. I've come to grips with this. So I told him, and he said, well, we're going to take you off the DL tomorrow. Would you want to play? I said, yes, I want to play. I'd play as much as I can before we hang it up. But Saturday, I don't remember what day it was, Saturday or whatever, is my last game. And thank you. So I played that game, and I remember it was my first start in a while, and I went 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, and I just go in the dugout. I'm like, dude, this is fuck. Thank God. This shit ain't fun anymore. And I get in the 8th inning, and I had a bases loaded and 0-2 count, and I started fouling balls off and finally feeling good because I hadn't had really at bats in like a month. And then I kind of he hangs me a curveball that I'm a little out in front for, and I hit a line drive to left, tie the game with an RBI single. I'm like, and then we take the lead, and I'm like, you know what? I hit a 2-out RBI single, tie the game in the 8th. I made a nice catch against the wall in left field. It's a good game to end out on. Good. And then the 9th inning, we bring in Jimmy Sherfy, who at the time was like leading the league in saves, and he never blows a game, and he blows the lead. We're down by 1. And I remember I was in left field, and I take the back. You remember what I said about the baseball gods? I said this out loud in the outfield because I was pissed. I wanted to win the fucking game.
Yeah.
And I in my head, it completely went out of my head that this is my final game. Fucking completely. I was just too pissed that we weren't winning anymore.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck it. I'm up 3rd next inning. Someone will get on. I'll fucking walk off. Let's fucking go. I went in. First guy gets on. I come up. And it's their closer, and I faced this guy before. Throws fucking fire. 97 to 101. I'm like, get on time of the fastball. If he throws me 3 bastard sliders, fine. I'll swing through each one of them. I don't give a shit. He's got a fucking, I'm putting a hack on this, and he's not beating me. If he beats me, it ain't a fastball. First pitch, 98, fouled right back. And I stepped out of the box, grabbed my barrel, and yelled, get on time to the fastball, you stupid fuck!
Love it.
And then I just turned around, got back in the box, and I'm like, go ahead. You know you want to throw me a fastball. You know you want to do it. Throw me a fucking fastball. And he did. And I hit this fucking shit out of it. And a part of me hit it. And then again, it didn't cross my mind that I was retiring. But I hit it. And a part of me, I knew it was fucking way gone. But I hit it, and I'm like, I'm going to pimp this. But I never pimped home runs because I'm Jewish. And the reason I say that is because, like, in the back of my head, like, I have like this Jewish family member that lives here that's been like, oh, so special you are. You can't get on. What if it goes off the wall or hits a bird and you're not in scoring position? Oh, who do you think you are, Mr. Big Shot? So, I took off. I fucking ran like I always ran. And then when I saw it hit the thing in left center field way over the wall, I didn't slow down. I was just too charged up and fired up.
Just hauling ass.
And I'm just hauling ass around the bases. And I just threw my shit and just came in. And it was like a hug fest at home plate with everybody. Guys were like, teammates were in tears. And it wasn't hitting me yet. I was just so fired up. Yeah. And then it wasn't until I got in the dugout. And Johnny Gomes, who was at the time our outfield coordinator. And I remember I got to the dugout. And I go to the helmet rack and I take off my batting gloves. Take off my helmet. I'm still just really fired up. Put my helmet, and then I put it in the helmet rack. And right when I put my helmet in the helmet rack, the same way I always do, that's when it hit me. Like, it didn't hit me until that. It was that motion of putting my helmet in the rack, and I just go like, this is the last time I'm ever doing this. I'm never going to put my helmet in a rack again. This is it. And I just kind of like froze and stopped smiling. And I looked to my right, and Johnny Gomes was like right next to me. On me, like, just on me. I was just like, Johnny, I'm retiring. He's like, I know, it's fucking awesome. And it was cool, man. It was that was probably the craziest thing that I ever got to be a part of, and it just happened to be that story. So it was a self-serving story, but it was awesome. It was cool,
dude. That's awesome. And dude, wrap this up, man. Tell everybody where they can find you, when they can find you. I appreciate you coming out, sharing some great stories with us, talking it up. Dude, this has been great, man.
Man, it was a blast. And, dude, I cannot wait to have that bottle, dude. I'm fired up. Hey, if you guys got any more of those Glencairns lying around, those things are sweet, too. You guys are killing the game.
Hell you.
But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Decker6. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram, Antihero Baseball. On Instagram, I mostly post, baseball stuff mostly. I do some like show prep, and I'll put some stuff on Instagram, but it's usually ball players at our facility, guys working out. I'm trying to use that mainly as like my baseball page. Over on Twitter, I'm a little more free going and a lot more fun, and I do a lot more promotion of all my shows. Of course, you can check me out on 670 The Score tomorrow, 6 p.m. Down the Line with Cody Decker, brought to you by Circa Resort and Casino. By the way, Yes, they own my show. Yes, they pay some of my bills. If you haven't gone to fucking Circa yet, go to Circa. It is the coolest place in the world. If you're a sports fan, you're a baseball fan, I don't care if you gamble or not, you got to check that place out. It's the coolest casino you'll ever be in your life, especially if you're a baseball fan. Like baseball games ever. It's just the best. It's unreal. You can check that out. And of course, you can check out, subscribe to our podcast, Big Time Baseball, me and Tony Gwynn Jr. and John Heyman. Those come out every Monday. And of course, a new show. Give me a second, because the show title, of course, rolls right off the tongue. And I want to make sure I don't mess up at all as I say the title, because it is a new show that I am co-hosting with Ryan Horvath for Odyssey Sports. BetMGM MLB podcast, powered by BetQL. Check that out as well. Again, rolls right off the tongue. I hope you guys check out. But the show is going to be awesome. Ryan is just a pro. And I am pure gold. So we are going to have a lot of fun on that show. And, of course, check me out on 670 Score on Bernstein and Rahimi. If you're in New York, you can check me out on Carton and Roberts that I'm on all the time. If you're in San Diego, you can hear me on Ben and Woods all the time. And I'm around.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, that's a great wrap up to that. Everybody, if you haven't, make sure to go check out Storytime Distillery. You can find that on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us at www.storytimedistillery.com. Every Thursday, we're here, Big League Bourbon. Got different guys from minor league baseball and Major League Baseball coming on and talk baseball and bourbon.
Love it.
See you when we see you. Cody, thanks again, man. This has been a blast. Thanks for taking the time to come out and hang with us tonight. And
anytime, dude.
Everything you got going on, man. Look forward to chatting with you again, brother.
Thanks, brother, man. A blast. Love talking whiskey. One of my favorite things, honestly, to talk about.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'll have to get you on again, and we'll just talk whiskey next time.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I'll set up a date with you and we do it again, man. This has been fun.
Don't you threaten me with a good time.
Ooh. I'll even send you some so we can talk about it while we're on here.
Dude, we're just sitting on the technology. Let's go.
I'm telling you, man. I'll send you a blind and we'll just go through it. How's that sound?
I'm in. Let's do this, baby.
Boom. Love it. All right. Sounds good, man. I'll set that up with you on the backside. There you go, everybody. Going to be doing a blind with Cody somewhere down the road here. So he'll be back again talking some whiskey. All right, everybody. Take care. Be safe. Drink responsibly. But have a good time and be safe, y'all. Have a good one. Night.